Welcome everyone to another TV Pitch Tips audio postcards. I'm Mark Simon, and once again we've got two questions this week. And the first one is from Samuel Lasima from Atlanta, Georgia. And Samuel asks, we were on a real estate reality show for about one full season 2 years ago. Is that something we should tell producers when we make our pitch for our show concept? Absolutely. Part of any good pitch is proving to execs why you can produce a show, and industry experience is one of the number one factors that'll make someone feel confident in your abilities. And if you're on the show, hopefully you're more than just a day player. Hopefully you had more of a starring role. But yet any experience in production, in particular a production that is relevant to the type of show that you're pitching, absolutely. So hopefully the show you're on is relevant to what you're pitching. If not, find some commonality. I mean, obviously production is production, but as many common elements as possible. If you had something to do with developing the characters that you were portraying or the stories that were going into the show, those are also things that are really, really important, and you should be able to work that into it. If the place that you're pitching, if they had something to do with that show, that's even more important, because now you've got a connection to them. Or if the people had worked at a studio or network where it had been. You know, again, we've talked about this over and over. Where's the commonality with the people you're pitching to? Okay, question number 2 for this week from Dwan Marshall. Dwan Marshall from Chicago, Illinois. And Dwan asks, if my concept is approved, how would I know and when? You know, this is actually a question we've been getting more and more lately. And we often wish that there was a better answer to it. I mean, the most obvious thing is if they really want it, they're going to find you and track you down. You know, there are only so many really great, outstanding ideas. There's probably more than people realize, but most people have no idea on how to get it out in front of the right people. And they're so freaking worried about their ideas being stolen that they never get it out there, which is a major mistake. You've heard us talking about it. Get your show idea out to everyone so there's a better chance, if you're one of the ones that has this great idea, that it can get seen. For instance, you've probably heard about us talking about before, with South Park. Well, they weren't pitching. The guys who created South Park never did pitch the show. They created the original short, a 5-minute short called The Spirit of Christmas, as a Christmas gift for a Fox executive. And he had hired them to do it, paid them a few $1,000s, put this thing together, and it became a viral bonanza. And this was viral before the internet. This was viral on half-inch VHS tapes that went around, even made it to my studio out in Orlando. And a number of studios saw it and just flipped over it. So they hunted these guys down. They didn't even have their name on the tape. So it wasn't like it was easy. Oh, well, let's just call these guys. No, they had to track it down and figure out who had done it. But that's not to say that you shouldn't do your job in following up. You definitely need to follow up. Things can get lost. People can kind of forget things. These executives are so busy. In fact, you may have also heard one of our stories. Jeannie and I were talking to a woman who was at a network in Saskatchewan, and she had it was right after a major conference in Banff, and we were all going out to the airport together, and she had armloads of stuff, and she said, you know, I took 73 pitches this week. I'll bet no one follows up with me. No one did last year. Not a single person last year followed up. If anyone would have even followed up with me, I probably would have made a deal with them just because there was a connection. Well, that told us everything we needed to know. If you don't follow up at all, it also kind of shows them that you don't have the passion that's necessary. So part of your follow-up is really part of your pitch. And it could be in a number of things. It could be just making sure that they know that you're passionate about it and you really want to do it. Another is a reminder that you're out there. Another could be that maybe they had a question or comment or concern about your idea, and part of your follow-up is overcoming that concern. Maybe you've decided, oh, you know, one of their ideas is really great. I should let them know that I want to incorporate that into the show. Now that vests the executives more into your idea. So that it will help them on pushing it further, especially if they have to pitch it up to the people above them. Now their passion will be higher because maybe a portion of them is in it. Then, of course, there's Phineas and Ferb. Now, they didn't actually do the follow-up afterwards. Their show was, they said no. Disney said no when they first pitched it. But an executive came in and was going through the old files, saw it, loved it. A year after their pitch, they got a call out of the blue and said, you know, we'd really like to do this. Come on in. And they got a contract. So, it kind of goes back to what I said at the beginning. If a network really wants it, they'll call you. Not hearing doesn't mean no, but if they really want it, they will definitely get hold of you. So our hot tip this week is when you go in and you're doing your pitch, start with why you're the perfect one to produce your show, and then get into your pitch really fast. You don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it. We've had a number of stories we just heard, and we've got another one recently where a client came to us and she had a preschool show. And part of our consulting with her at our Hitmaker Summit was going over with everyone why you're the perfect one to produce your show. And she came up to us after that one section. She goes, you know what? I don't know why. I don't know why I'm doing this. And so Gene and I kept talking to her, and we couldn't figure it out why either. Well, during that lunch, a bunch of our members were sitting together, and she told her background story. And one of the members came up and said, you need to hear her story. I think there's a show there. And so we talked to her about it, and sure enough, it was this unbelievable story of how she was raised in an unbelievably strict, or was married into a really strict Protestant religious community, and her husband was abusive, and she wasn't allowed to learn anything, and she didn't know it. He took care of everything. It was just a horrible, horrible upbringing. And then she left him, and her story of how she raised her 4 kids without any education whatsoever was just unbelievable. And then she started getting really excited as we were talking about how she could put this together. And as soon as she started pitching, the networks were, oh my God, I have to read the script. And part of that was because she started with saying, this is based on my life story, and just a little bit about it. And it led from Margaret's story into the Scarlet character. And she was able to tell it with passion because it was her story. And that passion in a pitch is what makes people just want to hear more. And it's passion that gets people to watch your show. Hopefully you can find that passion in yours, use that in your pitch, and we'll talk to you next week.